Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Yet another massive paper leak scandal has rocked the NEET undergraduate 2026 examination, shattering the dreams of lakhs of medical aspirants across the country. Police have so far nabbed several key accused in this multi-state racket, including alleged mastermind Manish Yadav from Rajasthan, career counsellor Rakesh Mandavaria, Shubham Kernar from Nashik and others from Haryana and Dehradun. At least 9 people have been arrested so far. The National Testing Agency, which conducted the exam, is once again facing severe criticism. The NTA is currently headed by Director General Abhishek Singh. Despite major reforms brought in after the 2024 irregularities, including giving NTA a specialized focus on only higher education entrance tests, introducing secure lockable containers for question paper transport, and imposing stricter punishments of 3 to 5 years imprisonment along with 10 lakh rupees fine, the system has failed again. This has triggered serious questions on the effectiveness of those changes. What arrangements were in place to stop leakage before printing? Who leaked then the selective questions to the guest paper racket? Who gave access to the question paper PDF 2 days before the exams? How come just 2 years after structural changes, we don't have a foolproof exam system? Should NTA lose responsibility of conducting NEET exams? These are all big questions on everyone's minds right now. With the exam now cancelled and a CBI probe underway, students and parents are demanding full accountability and a secure re-examination under strict supervision. Joining us at this point is Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Chairman Nephron Clinics. Dr. Neha Sharma, former Deputy Secretary CBSE Board, is also joining us now live. Rahil Sheikh, CEO NEET Prep, is also live with us. Tanushri Kataria, a NEET aspirant, also joins us on the broadcast. Tanushri, what was your first reaction when you heard this news yesterday that your paper was cancelled? Okay, I think we've lost that connection with Tanushri, but let me rope in Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Dr. Bagai, several big questions are on everyone's minds today, some of which I just, referred to. But at the end of the day, how will we get medical students' faith back in the examination system? I'm sure when they go for their re-examination, once again, that fear will be in their minds that what about this paper? What if this also gets cancelled?
Good evening. So 3 very, very important points, Uday. This is turning out to be a more and more cruel joke. It's no longer a comedy circus. This is repetitive. This is not the first time it has happened. There are 22 lakh students, young students who appeared for the NEET exam to join the medical course. There are 819 medical colleges and approximately 1.2 lakh medical seats for MBBS. Now, break it down and see, more than 40 to 50% of the seats are reserved, be it an all India quota, be it a state quota, be it OBC, be it scheduled caste, lower economic section, scheduled tribe, and so on. So the merit seats as it is are very few. Now you come to the exam itself. This exam is a multiple choice. This has been now primarily relying on coaching centers. Quota has actually turned out to be a death trap for young students. It's a pressure cooker situation. We are producing small memorizing robos with no concept of knowledge. Just mug and go and vomit out the multiple choice question. That's not the way medicine is to be practiced, and nor it will ever be the way to practice. We have made the entire educational system of the first 12 years of a child redundant. We put it absolutely languishing in the sidelines. Now, concentrating on the second point, a child goes in with multiple exams within a few weeks, maybe a month. A child has to pass his class 12 or her class 12 and then appear for the NEET exam. Very often, students take a year's break or a sabbatical, and then comes the fiasco that the paper is leaked. Once the credibility of a system or a platform is fractured, faith coming back is a very, very difficult task. We are now making these students as a generation lost. I want to repeat it again. 14% of all Indians have some sort of mental disorder. They have anxiety of high grade. They have suicide tendencies. More than 8 lakhs human beings in India are losing life because of suicide. 1 in every 40 seconds. By the time I finish my talk in 2-3 minutes, there will be many more people who would have already committed suicide. These are amongst the numbers who are counted. We cannot make these students as built in an environment which is so stressful, so fearful that they just collapse under the pressure which we as a society are creating. The NEET exam needs a complete relook, not only the way it is conducted, but the syllabus itself. We have to give a particular attention towards the class 12, class 11 marks. We can't make that completely useless and languishing at the side. The NEET Excel should be totally online. Having these exams, papers printed, papers leaked, it's very, very, very disturbing. Now, what is the impact of this long term, not only in this generation, but the next few generations? The good students are getting disillusioned. As it is the medical course, please, I want everyone to appreciate is 5.5 years of MBBS, 3 years of MD, and 3 years of MCH or DM to become a super specialist. It's 12 years after class 12. By the time you finish, you're approximately 30, 31, provided you have got every exam passed in the first attempt. And you get a seat of your choice, college of your choice. Very unlikely. Your youth has already been sacrificed. The students, the good students are looking at avenues apart from medicine. In few years' time, we will actually have good students not taking up medicine or coming in from the reserved or the quota system in which they are not on merit. Medicine has to be on merit. It has to be clean. It has to be transparent. It must be made accountable. And I would request the government to come down with an iron hand, give life imprisonment without parole, without bail to anyone who has indulged in this heinous crime. Make the students between the age group of 16 to 20 or 22 enjoy their career. If a student is not going to love with passion what he is doing, he's not going to do well. We have to look at productivity. We have to look at safeguarding the mental health. I've said this on many platforms. Mental health of a student is going to define their life in future. Over to you.
Okay, let me in fact quickly then also get in Rahil Sheikh for what sort of changes now are needed. This should be the final wake-up call, although there have been many other wake-up calls before this as well, Rahil. But what should be the structural changes which must be effected now to ensure this never happens again?
Thank you so much for bringing him in. So the thing is that this is not novel. This leak did not happen on 3rd May or a week before that. The reason for this leak is the systemic challenges which were not fixed despite there being a leak in 2024 as well. And it's like same news, different day. When the same thing happens over and over again, what has the student got to think? The reason why I'm bringing up the 2024 leak is after that leak, there were assurances. There was a committee formed and there were a lot of really smart people on that committee. And to their credit, they gave out a very good report. It was a 184-page report which had come out with 101 recommendations. Now, I don't know how many of those have been implemented, but I know that big 2 have not been implemented. One big recommendation was that the NEET exam should be conducted online. That has not happened. Another big recommendation was that it should happen in 2-step manner, which has also not been implemented. So if the changes which have been recommended by an expert committee of really educated, really experienced professionals has not been implemented, then who is to blame? You can't blame particular places. You have to blame the system that the recommendations which were made by experts have not been implemented. And who's to suffer for this? At the end of the day, the student is suffering. Like Dr. Sanjeev also mentioned, mental health is paramount. These are fragile years. Please remember, these are 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who are writing this exam, and they've spent multiple years, sometimes as many as 4 years of their lives preparing for this exam. And then you tell them, hey, all the hard work that you did has gone down the drain, and it's not even your fault. And then once again, you have to go into that mental pressure cooker for 60 more days or 90 more days. NT has not announced the NEET date yet, as far as I know. And once again, there is uncertainty looming in their lives. The sincere students who have worked so hard are going to struggle through no fault of their own. And hence, the recommendations which were made by the committee uh, should be implemented. There's no reason why they have not been implemented in 2 years. And at this stage, it seems like it's just about damage minimization, reputation management, rather than making sure that the right thing is done for the students, because they are the ones who are the biggest stakeholders.
Okay, let me in fact also bring in Dr. Neha Sharma then. Dr. Neha Sharma, at the end of the day, arrests have been made, but will total accountability be fixed for this lapse yesterday? What happens is, the people at the bottom often are caught, but the entire web is never uncovered, which is why these incidents keep repeating. What lasting changes would you expect? What lasting sort of steps must be taken so that such an incident never repeats? You have been part of the system yourself, Dr. Sharma, so you know it very well. What can be done to rectify this big lapse which has left lakhs of students in complete jeopardy and depression?
The first thing first is this, that we should learn how to learn from our mistakes. I think this is one thing which we have not done so far, and we keep committing mistakes. And then, as you rightly said, that the ones who are actually the masterminds are completely left scot-free after any such fiasco happens, and the ones who are down in the list, they are the usually ones who bear the brunt of it. Also, what is important is that when such thing happens, the trust in the system is hugely shaken, and especially for the child who is not having the means and is doing things with a lot of difficulty. There are social pressures, there are financial pressures, and then something of this sort happens. So when something of this sort happens, we are just thinking about what has happened in the paper leak. We are also to think as a society, as a system, how to counsel and support the children who have invested themselves financially and emotionally, and have spent the entire duration of maybe at least 2 to 3 years preparing for this exam. So one, we also have to have a system in place where we are able to provide that support and make sure that these children, they understand that fine, whatever has happened, of course it's very unfortunate, but then they have to at least take their next step also with the same determination as they have done the first one. Though it may be sounding very ridiculous when I'm saying this, but then something that has happened and which cannot be undone is something that we should not be sitting and talking about only. Also, when we talk about what can be done to make the system proper or in place, as Mr. Rahil just now shared about the report, when there are recommendations which are by a committee which has put in a lot of effort, have done worked on a lot of data and taken inputs and everything, why aren't we keeping these reports only for the newspaper headlines, only for channel debates, and not for implementation? Why there is no fine, no penalty when the system as responsible as NTA is not implementing them? Why there's no check on them that what was the reason, and why even after the lapse of such a long duration, no concrete measure was taken? And now once it has happened, it's very easy to say that we won't charge any fee, we won't, we'll try and we take the responsibility and everything. But then we also have to understand that it rather be the last time, if at all it has happened, and should not become a topic of debate every now and then, and it should not keep on recurring. So yeah, this is what I would like to say on this.
Yes, Dr. Poonam Phogat, let me also quickly draw you in here, because Dr. Phogat, many are questioning whether the fault is with the NTA, whether the fault is with the coaching centers who have become coaching mafia, who are trying to get out the papers in this race to get marks for their students. Who is ultimately at fault here, according to you? Who is, you are a career counselor, and this is really putting the careers of these students in jeopardy.
Yes, See, I told you earlier also that I have worked with NTA also as a body, as a unit, that is very fine. But the moment the work is delegated downwards to other private as well as other institutes where these exams happen, that is the chain where the leakages happen. So I think, and again, the responsibility has to be taken by NTA only. You cannot blame other organizations that they did not do well. Ultimate responsibilities of the NTA. And now we have to do something about making some kind of landmark changes, judgments, so that we do not play with the future of our students. And it's not just future, it is about, investing, working hard for months and months. 4 years minimum, I think 9 onwards, students start preparing, start making a mindset, and then this is shaken because of such instances. So NTA is the only sole body which has to take responsibility. And again, if I believe if the NTA has lot of load on it, if it is doing too many exams for the entire country, then again the work has to be divided so that NTA does not make such mistakes again and again.
Okay. Let me go back to you, Dr. Bagai. Of course, now at the end of the day, re-exams will be needed. There will be that re-examination. What would be your advice to the medical students right now who are, in this flux of what to do, how to now study? Obviously, their mental stress is, there. Some of them have gone off for a holiday, which they thought they deserved after the exam. They'll have to come back now and prepare. Some are wondering how can they prepare what they have for 1 year in just 1 week or 1 month. What would be advised to the medical students currently?
So two parts again. First is for the students. I think you just have to concentrate on the job at hand. Of course, this was a much stressful and highly avoidable set of circumstances which has derailed the process. It's not easy for students to recalibrate and reconcentrate all over again for a period of next few weeks and then give the exam again. There are a lot of students who would have done exceedingly well on merit because of good preparation. They will lose steam, giving it second time around. So it is a mess, undoubtedly. And I think a lot of these students require a little bit of counseling, a little bit of help, a little bit of psychological support. And I think Government of India should offer this. A lot of students want to have a conversation with someone to de-stress. Do not negate this fact. Point number two, advice to people who are conducting this. I think the people in charge of this so-called body platform known as the NTA, they need to resign, they need to be sacked. There needs to be a more autonomous and a very, very powerful body. The format of this exam has to change. NEET is not a good way of choosing young aspirants who want to become doctors. You are not getting the talent through this route, through this pathway. We need to give adequate weightage to the first, let's say, at least 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades of school and high school, and give a part weightage to an entrance exam, which should be online. It should not be on pure memory. It should be fact-based. It should be more science-based. This kind of theoretical knowledge has no role in today's life. Believe me, if you go through the syllabus of NEET, it has not even remotely concern with regards to medicine per se. You don't need botany, you don't need zoology. Basic sciences should be reviewed for children's knowledge. Like I said, memorizing without understanding is zero value in today's time. Over to you.
Yes, let me in fact take that to you as well. Once again, on Rahil, this NTA as well, this role of the NTA. Should the NTA lose responsibility now of conducting the NEET exams? Should the body be restructured, or is the fault not there just with them? It is with the other in the loop in the system as well.
So let's be clear about this. Like Dr. Poonam said, that despite the lapses being happening at lower level, the responsibility does rest squarely on NTA. I understand that the current head of NTA, he seems like an extremely transparent and extremely responsible person who took charge recently only, but the responsibility does rest with NTA. And like I said, the lapse did not happen on the day of the NEET exam or a week before the NEET exam. The lapse happened when the recommendations were not accepted And hence the changes the recommendations which have been made by Dr. K. Radhakrishnan's committee need to be implemented. They are the experts and we need to trust our experts here. While we are on this topic, I want to bring up one more thing, which is that at this stage, when students are in a vulnerable situation, there's a lot going through their minds, and it's imperative that wherever they are, if they are in Kota, they need to go back home. They need to be with their parents. And my advice to parents is ki this is a sensitive time. Your wards are at an impressionable age, and now's not the time to pressurize them. Now's the time to nurture them. And something big has happened. I understand that students might not be able to right away slip into a mindset of being a well-oiled robot who's studying 14 hours a day again. And that's not how ideally it should be. But what they should do is, since the report of NEET cancellation came out yesterday, they should take a day or two to calm themselves, collect themselves, uh, convince themselves what do they want to do right now. And if they decide to write re-NEET, it's their responsibility, it's their dharma, because this is the only path to social mobility for a large portion of our population. When I wrote JEE 17 years ago, that was the path to social mobility for me. That's how I got to IIT. And that's the path for social mobility for a lot of people. That's how they are able to pursue a career in medicine. They are able to turn into young doctors who help the country, and while on this journey they're also able to uplift their families through poverty. So that's one of the very few hopes, one of the few rays of hope, one of the few avenues which are still available, which are generally fair. But such lapses will constant such lapses will degrade their faith in the system and will take away that last bastion of hope for middle class, lower middle class families for social mobility. And hence, it's important
Dr.
that
Neha,
we take
also, the people, who are in the higher ups, when will accountability be fixed there? Because the big questions are who leaked the paper, who made these, kind of gave the sort of answers to those making those guest papers, how was that PDF leaked? These are all big questions, and, obviously there are people higher up in the chain who also need to be, their responsibility needs to be affixed.
Yeah, I think that is something which needs to be taken into consideration, because until and unless that is done, see, what is happening is the children who are appearing for exam, they are in an impressionable age. Now, if they see that dishonesty prevails with corruption, you can still get away with it. You do whatever, you'll not be caught, you'll not be penalized for it. So they start losing faith in the system, and that is something very serious. This will not only impact our current generation, it'll have impact on future generations as well.
Breaking
So
news.
we